also released his 2025 forecast. I'm going to bring the Stock Traders Almanac editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Hirsch. Jeffrey, let's talk about this. So,
Happy New Year, Charles.
Happy New Year, my man. All right, so your base case, 8 to 12% gains for the year. Best case, 12 to 20%. And I was happy with your worst case because it was sort of flat to negative. I mean, Bob just now said look for at least a 10% correction. Let's start with the base case, a 65% probability. What has to happen to make this come to fruition?
I mean, not a whole lot that great has to happen. It's got to be pretty solid. We got to get some of the things that Mr. Trump is trying to put through. I think we need inflation, as you were showing before, has to stay a little bit contained. The 10-year that you were pointing out, I mean, I'm looking at that 4.3 level, not just between 4 and 5. I mean, we need to get those interest rates.
You want it below 4.3, the 10-year?
Not below, but not way above it. I mean, that's sort of the line, not in the sand, but just that area that we need to stay around, if not a little bit below there. But it would be nice to be below that.
If we do somehow in these inflation numbers start to again drift a little bit lower, and the Fed now the focus is back on the Fed being more accommodative, is that where we get the best case scenario?
I think that's where the best case scenario comes in. I think it also has to do with what happens out of Washington. I mean, there's a lot of churn. You guys were just talking about that a few moments ago. I'm not confident they're going to get all the DOGE stuff through, some per se. We know Mr. Trump wants to leave a legacy of a roaring bull market, you know, economic stability, global stability. So if they can get a lot more done than previous administrations have been able to do, that also adds to the best case.
At least we know we've got people working on
inflation
it.
contained,
Like
economic growth sustained, rates down, and success out of Washington.
Worst case, no one's saying it, but golly, I mean, what would the Fed be involved in a worst case scenario?
Yeah, if you bit your tongue earlier with the cut comment. I mean, with the hike comment, if they have to hike, that's going to be an issue. If they don't get the at least 2 in, I'm still thinking they can do a quarter when they come up with their economic projections. I think they reset the expectations in December.
Stock Traders Almanac, you guys have set, you established all of these things like the Santa Claus rally and the first few days of trading and all of this stuff. So you're the expert here.
Yep.
Santa Claus didn't show up this year.
Nope.
No Santa. It's happened before, and those years that it's happened before, the full year, only one was down 1.5%. So we're up 18%. But what had to happen for that to come to fruition?
January barometer's got to be positive here.
Okay.
This is not just down Santa Claus rally. This is down Santa Claus rallies with an up January barometer. Both of these indicators were invented by my father back in '72. So it's really all about January being the key here. If we can get through this full month, and remember, when we get to the end of this month, we're going to have the beginnings of the Trump administration's, agendas and policy initiatives come out. So we'll have a good read on what's going on in D.C. We'll have a better read on inflation in the coming weeks when some data comes out. So the full month January is what the key is.
All right, so just brace. Hanging on by fingernails. Hey, I got less than a minute to go.
Yep.
Your free lunch menu of bargain stocks. By the way, anytime you tell me free lunch, you get my attention. And the great news is I've only heard of one of these stocks, Topgolf Callaway. Tell us a little bit about the first two.
These two are in the oil and gas exploration business. They're one of them does parts and stuff for wells, and one of them is exploring and drilling. But Topgolf, I'm a golfer. I love it. So it's kind of fun to see it down there. Basically, the Callaway acquisitions got the stock down. These were ones that were picked that were down, made new 52-week lows on the triple witching Friday before December. It's an old strategy we have in the book. The stocks making these new lows bounce higher than the market. So these are a few that I highlighted from that list.
Because they become oversold?
Oversold, tax loss selling, and then they pop very nicely historically.
All right. Folks listening on the radio, CIVI. INVX and MODG. It used to be Callaway. Well, they bought Callaway.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Great stuff, Jeff. Appreciate it, buddy.